Hello and welcome here in Kepler's garden in Linz, Austria, the place where the Ars Electronica 2020 edition is taking place. We would like to introduce you and invite you in a little journey where we want to show you the main elements of this year's festival.
The main elements are different parts of exhibition projects. We have the Starts Prize winners, the best what this combination of art and technology for the benefit of society can offer. Then we have the projects coming from the university. And besides this, we have a garden exhibition of an incredible range of artworks that are exhibited, not inside, but outside.
Yes, and many different aspects are there to find. One main aspect is Create Your World, which is the festival for the younger generation. What they are going to do there is not to exhibit in the traditional sense. They are actually exhibiting themselves. They are using this festival in this time of a pandemic to meet for a social gathering. And then we have the LIT projects, a collaboration between the local institutions and the creatives, artists from outside. With those, we want to show that there are alternative ways for creating innovation.
Exactly, and then the garden exhibition. So this is the third part of the trias of those exhibition projects. And they give an additional, not just an aesthetic aspect, but also quite a humoristic one. When you walk through the parks, when you meander around the buildings, and you find artwork that highlight very ecological topics, very pressing ones, but also have a charm in the way they introduce those topics. And as as the last part, actually, we have an insight into our online festival, into the world of the more than 120 partners.
Yes, and back to the place. This all is happening in quite a wonderful place. If you remember back where the last edition took place, in the cool environment of this post-industrial, post-city, we landed now in a wonderful environment, close to nature, close to the elements, close to rain, and we hope you enjoy this.
Welcome into the park of the JKU, into the park that actually is or represents the origin of this year's festival topic. Here we started to think about the festival this year, to originally plan it in a completely different way, but we had to change positions.
And changing positions yeah.
Actually, exactly, is what we want to talk about, standing in front of the artwork above the below from the Belgian artist Mathieu Zurstrassen. And that is actually what the artwork is calling for, that you need to change positions in order to experience it.
If you want to get close and if you want to understand it, to really go down actually on your knees and listen to the end of the tube. And the end of the tube is actually a loudspeaker that is telling a text, a rather legendary text, about the necessity of changing position. And it is, as a metaphor, exactly, and in its irony, a perfect piece representing the curatorial approach from this year's. And it is about our relationship to the nature. It is about what role technology could take over to link us better with this, so that we create like a relationship based on sustainable values.
Exactly. And it is a representation of the sculpture park that we have set up for you, and a garden exhibition where you can, while walking through those beautiful trees above us, stumble across interesting pieces that make you think, that make you wonder.
Yeah, but we will go on anyways. As you see, still I'm sitting here in the park. Indeed, because it's so quiet and comfortable. It is so close to nature, which is actually and should have been the new attitude, the new category Ars Electronica wants to represent. Art, technology and society plus our relation to our nature, because what we are facing as a global society is huge challenges caused by us or by somebody else, but mainly coming from this environmental front that you can recognize all over the place. And in regards of environmental, we have art pieces here, ironic ones, poetic ones, humorous ones, all together with this associated space of a very critical approach to the problems and challenges we currently face. And one key project is Create Your World, the festival in the festival. There, it is a special attitude this year. It is that you would not expect this little village in the big festival area, where the young kids would come and present the projects with them. They want to solve problems or the world. It is that the protagonists of Create Your World are using this festival for a meeting. So what we exhibit actually is young people meeting, discussing the challenges, the problems of our time, and beyond this, trying to find ways out of this, trying to create prototypical solutions of the generation who is actually the owner of the future we are talking about.
Even though the sounds, the movements, the activeness of Create Your World is definitely defining this area here, we go back into the sculpture park. We go back into looking at the artworks that we selected that are media artworks and usually not supposed to be presented outside. However, for us this year, this garden is the exhibition space. We're not presenting them in their traditional habitat of dark inside rooms where media arts very often is presented. We present them in the open space of a park because in Kepler's garden does not just mean we are in a park, but we are creating parks around the world that represent those actual gardens. The first work I would like to talk about is one that is directly linked to this topic of ecology. We're talking about extinct plants, about monocultures, especially in Europe, where trees are suffering under the climate change, especially warming or missing rainfalls. Here, parasites are getting very dangerous for the trees, and Jip van den Leeuwenstein, a Dutch artist, created a parasite himself, a robot parasite, that is fixed on a tree, and if you tilt your head above, you can see that robot in the branches of the tree. The robot attracts the parasite, and it not only attracts them, but it also digests them in order to create the energy for the robot to function. Another artwork that we have on display in the garden is an artwork by the German artist Sebastian Wolf, Loves Me Not. Probably we can all remember the days when we were children and we were lying in the park, picking little petals from flowers, asking ourselves, does he love me, does she love me not? He, however, translates this into a small, very delicate robot, asking exactly that question: how do we integrate machines, robots, into our daily life? Do we also play with them, or do we always see the dangers of biases in them? Last but not least, in the park you can see an artwork by Doma Schwarz. It's called De-Rotation. In collaboration with many other scientists, he actually asked the question of what is a renewable energy source? How are we kind of working with those energy sources, especially if we create more and more technology, if we use up more and more power for internet, for streaming, for all those devices, and how we deal with that, with this rising need of energy. Where can we get all this energy from? Should it be just, for example, through wind turbines, or are there also other possibilities that we can find and create? We are in the park, but not in the same one. We are in a new garden on a new lawn, surrounded by actually rather small but very newly planted trees. Behind us is an artwork that just arrived from Switzerland, brought here by the artist Lukas Droninger. Ephemeral fleeting shows us the ephemerality of natural phenomena. And what Lukas brought here is not just the desire of showing us artificial phenomena, like natural phenomena, but he also shows us and points us the limitation of us as humans, especially when it comes to controlling nature, controlling our surroundings in the end.
Yes, and he creates a poetic temporary moment for our audiences and for us that shows us that some limits are simply not to overcome. And he also brings his piece and us in direct relation to the scholar Kepler, who was actually one of the founders of the mechanized world image.
And before leaving this beautiful park, we wanted to point out that moving from a sculpture garden into a sound garden actually brings us closer to a huge part of our program, a program that you cannot exhibit in a physical space, but that you hear fleeting around the surroundings, kind of covering this whole park, this whole area, moving besides and next to each other, influencing itself. And I think that is the beauty of also what includes the festival. The festival is not just an exhibition. A festival are concerts, performances, conferences, and artworks. And I think that is what is, in the end, Kepler's Gardens.
Hello, we are Veit Sprenger, Thies Münter, Tobias Euler, not in the picture right now. He likes to stay in the background. And this is our device, the Moon Machine. It's a mobile driving vehicle which is triggered with air and electronics and dedicated to the composer Moondog, aka Louis Thomas Hardin, who died 21 years ago, and in homage to him we built this device last year and are now traveling the world with it. We are playing our own compositions dedicated to him and works he wrote in our interpretations, which are not very literate, but hopefully accurate in some way, shape or form.
I have nothing to add to this, except that we will play on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Altogether, I think 6 slots of 2 hours. We will travel around this area, around the Kepler's Gardens in the environment of the lake, and we will be practically unavoidable for you. You will meet and hear and see us everywhere. So enjoy.
We already have a rhyme for you.